Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. That's the prediction. When it starts to happen, and perhaps the movie starts it, the one that's in the works, dear one, I want you to remember where you heard it first. And there will be those who would argue and say, Kryon is not accurate. It's only a matter of time. We'll wipe ourselves out yet again. It's up to you whether you listen to them or not. They'll say the earth is coming to an end. Even those who will hang on to the last possible moment to say that December 21 is the end of the earth. This year, 2012. Get their phone number and call them on December 22nd. And ask them to join something that you know about now that their drama is over. To join you in planting seeds for peace on earth. Instead of wallowing in that which creates attention, drama, and now the prediction, and then we close. I would not give you this information if it were not in the works. That is why when you get information about doing something, and we teach this, as many times as we can say, there is no clock. You wait for synchronicity. It's not an instruction to go do it now. Instead, it's a revelation of a potential that you will then create on your own time. You have something inappropriate in your country. It's big, and it has to do with big money. And it's going to fall. Perhaps in an unusual way. I cannot tell you when, but I will tell you it's ripe. It's ripe. Years ago, I told you when everybody knows everything, there can be no more conspiracies. This is the prediction. Big Pharma is going to have to change very soon. When you have an industry which keeps people sick for money, it will not stay in the new energy. It's not going to remain that way. It cannot. And these things of the past, the old energy, the big money that is involved in this circle is going to be revealed slowly. There are going to be embarrassed faces to think of an industry that's supposed to cure people, keeping them sick on purpose. And they will fall, and you'll know their names. And they're going to have to scramble to keep up with the rest of the world who may not have the proclivities they have for greed. That's the prediction. You don't run across somebody's border and simply take something you like anymore because you have the weaponry. Governments change. Attitudes change. You're going to start seeing a change in the way government conducts itself. Believe it or not, you're going to start seeing that which has more integrity, and there'll be those who demand it, and those who will shrink from it, and there will be battles over it. You may even see in your lifetime the end to name calling during elections. And wouldn't that be something? Where one stands up and says, I don't agree with my opponent, but he's a patriot, and he loves the country. And this is what he stands for. I don't agree with him, but here's what I stand for. And that will have integrity, and people will vote for that person instead of saying, he's a bad guy. Look at what he's... That's an old paradigm, dear ones. Well, I want you to watch for this. The first one who does it, and it'll be so obvious when it happens, will be a breath of fresh air in what you call politics, and politics will never be the same. A new paradigm. When you start seeing it in that arena, you know it's real. You're headed for an election year. Don't expect much change. And I'm telling you that because the old energy is strong. It may take 4 more years, maybe even 4 more. So we tell you that the dark and light balance is then going to change what? Who you elect. And it's about time. Don't look for it immediately, but it's going to be there. We are going to talk about review on financial systems. You have attacked them in the last 5 years. And the historians alive today would say that this is an impossible situation. You never could have done what you did. Many of you will sit around, and those hearing this will say, what are you talking about? All I know is that we're in a recession and I lost my home. Doesn't sound like something very exciting happened. And let me tell you yet again, as a review, if you talk to those who were wise 20 years ago, they will tell you there is no way you can rule over big money. You'll never get ahead. They'll always be in charge. There are conspiracies. There are those covert actions. You will never win over big money. They hold all the cards, all the cards, all the cards. And I will tell you, this recession you're in is a recalibration of big money. You called them on it. We told you almost a year before it happened what would fall first: insurance, who it would be. We told you it would be one of the largest insurance companies on the planet, and it was. It ought to tell you this was in the works. And this fell over because of integrity. Your bankers are confused, if you've noticed. Doesn't matter what the government says they can do, they're not doing it, if you've noticed. Why is that? Because there's an old paradigm of banking that they're trying to return to. They just can't believe it. And when they do believe it and start the new paradigm, you're going to start seeing an economy that works better than it did. And you will have done the impossible. You beat big money. You beat them. Now that, my dear human being, is a shift of dark and light. Do you see this? Integrity won out over abundance and power. There'll come a day when the ones who have the money are going to know the only way to get it is transparency and integrity. They'll put together win-win situations. You haven't even seen them yet, where everybody wins. And there won't be the rich ones and the poor ones. There'll be those that all win in a system. And nobody is left behind, scratching their heads and asking, what happened to my house? It's coming. This country is putting it together. There'll come a time on the planet where there'll probably be no more than 5 currencies. Continents will all have figured it out. Unity is the way of all things. It is the structure that creates succinctness in integrity, power of trade, and ease of working. You go from the many to the few, and there are fewer details, and it works. That is what the earth is awakening to. It may 2 generations before this has really been realized and seen, and you'll wake up one day and realize what you've done. You put things together instead of tearing them apart, and in the process of the next 2 decades, somebody will awaken and say, well, we didn't have a world war. Isn't that something? And we're not going to, because everybody is trading with everybody, and we've got a balance that works. And maybe that will solidify something, that this is a real, that the channeling you hear today comes from the source that we say it does. That's the source inside you, free to you. The love of God that loves you because you are family. When you're not here, you're with me. I know your face. I know who you are. I know your real name, not the one you've got right now. That is the truth of the day. Recalibration is upon you. We'll continue this cycle of revelation, and many things will be revealed. It's time. That's the energy of 2012, and so it is.